The movie starts in the middle of the ocean where we see that there is a big storm that is ravaging the water. In the morning we discover that something has come ashore on an island where a camera turns on and shows that some people come there and see that when one of them climbs up he accidentally activates a device. We come to know that it is a robot whose name is Rossum7134, but we will just call him Rose. He will get up and appear in front of them. Stands up and asks them which of them is her customer who bought it, but the people there don't agree with her. They can understand and start keeping their children safe while Rose realizes that the person who bought her is not there. Without doing anything else, the robot starts exploring the place and starts moving around to see what is going on around her. What is the environment like? He knows that he may have to face dangers on the way because he does not have much information about this place. Then it occurs to him that he is in a place surrounded by nature and animals where soon she casually gets caught by some waves. Trouble happens, but luckily she saves herself by clinging to the shore so that she is not carried away by the tide, but the bad thing is that she does not know how to climb up. Then she finds a crab and she watches how the crab climbs up, and soon she tries to climb like him and climbs the rocks without any trouble. Rose thanks the crab for his help and thinks she has made a new friend, but then the crab tries to give her some warning. She can't understand. Then a heron comes and takes away her friend because this is the cycle of life. This incident makes Rose understand that she has to pay attention to her surroundings because this world is different from her programming and she is still unable to understand most of the things. After this, she explores the place even more. And she tries to find out who bought her, but she feels that no one wants her because no one is talking to her properly. She remains in a learning mood for several days and then learns the language of animals so that she can be able to talk to them, so that when she talks to them again, she will know looks like someone there. Didn't buy it, so she tries to contact the company by activating her transmitter antenna, but unfortunately she is struck by lightning and her systems begin to fail, and then she sees a lot of raccoons trying to steal her components. Somehow she escapes from them and brings them back to their place and leaves her. However, one of them manages to remove her antennae. She quickly gets it back, but the worst thing is that she is killed by a bear. She gets into trouble with someone who starts chasing her. Luckily after escaping from the bear, she finds that she has accidentally landed on top of the swan's nest, where Rose notices that she has killed the rest of the swans and now there is only one egg left. As per her protocol, she has to hatch that egg. Then she realizes that a fox named Finn has taken the egg. Rose quickly runs after him, and while chasing, she finally gets the egg back, which makes her very happy. Then she meets Finn again. And this time Ross finds himself in trouble with the pig and slowly convinces the fox to help him. She expresses her intention and shows him that she will be using some cool tools, but the fox quickly realizes that Russ is working very carefully and soon solves his problem without any trouble. After a few days, the two became friends. Then the egg finally hatches and Russ realizes that a baby swan has come out who is looking at her in surprise, believing her to be its mother, while Russ is just trying to remove the shell so she can move on with her life. The little swan we will call Gasso is our new keeps looking at his mother, and even though Ross's face is metal, Ross begins to feel attached while Ross tells Gassi to move on with her life as she has helped him come out of his shell, but Gassi is scared when Ross tells him this, so he continues on his way. Russ wants to keep her, but what she doesn't realize is that Gasso is trying to follow her. Soon they come across some animals who tell Russ that Gasso now considers her his mother because he saw her when she was hatching. Saw it happen. They explain that now he will have to take care of Gas until he grows up and can fly off the island in the summer. Russ realizes that Gasso is considering her as his mother, but she says that she doesn't know how to do that. At the same time, Roto's mother, who may be another animal there, tells her that she tells him important things. After this, Ross starts advising on feeding and caring for the dog and other basic things. Gradually, Ross's attachment to the dog grows and she names him Brilliance because she notices the sparkle in his eyes. Ross spends many days caring for Brilliance and realizes that being a mother is easier said than done. No, Brilliance continues to cause mischief like other children. One day, Russ discovers that Brilliance has broken her transmitter antenna, preventing her from being able to contact her creators. Russ summarizes the main protocols for Gaso's development, and it turns out that the three main things are food, swimming, and flying, because the GonSat will have to migrate when the time comes. She tries to feed him, but she doesn't know how to feed the GonSaturday. She takes the second step, i.e. swimming. Tries to leave, but things don't go well for her and she has to deal with Mr. A fight breaks out at the same time. Finn the Fox arrives and offers to help. Finn then realizes that Ross is a robot who strictly follows his programming. Finn takes Ross to collect a variety of food. And he takes advantage of this and eats it himself, but Gaso doesn't eat any of it, which leads Ross to think that his efforts aren't working. Finally, Finn shows him that Brilliance only eats simple insects. Russ is now in his first phase. In succeeds, though Finn tells him that Brilliance was born much smaller than normal, and had he not met Ross, he might not have survived much longer. Finn suggests that he eat Brilliance himself so that Russ doesn't have to take care of him, but Russ refuses because he wants to take care of Shine Brilliance. She wants to keep the promise until she is ready to migrate. Then Finn tells her that she will need shelter to care for Shine. Rose immediately gets to work and causes a lot of chaos on the island. Start building shelter. Brilliance also tries to help as much as possible. Slowly we see Ross begins to break her protocol, even though she knows it's slowing things down, so she lets Brilliance do the work bit by bit. The tolerance slowly wears off, but by the time the sun goes down, the shelter is ready. They prepare to rest and Mr. Castor passes by and tells them in a scary voice that the house is a copy of his design. Hearing this, Shine gets scared and thinks that he will not be able to sleep. Russ tells him a story. To calm Shine down, she tells him that once upon a time there was a little duck who lived on an island. Ross interrupts him and tells him that he is lonely because his family went to heaven, but Finn interrupts him so that he doesn't tell Shine the whole truth because he is not ready to let it go. Then Finn tells the story. Continues when he says a little cat asks for a star so that he can give it to him as his mother. Then a robot comes to help him who knew that he has to take care of him. After hearing this story, Shine calms down and gets up and looks like he fell asleep. Juice tells him that he has to lock himself in until the morning. As time goes on, we see Shine growing up and trying to make friends, but no one likes him because he acts like a robot. His only friends are Ross and Finn. Ross tries to teach Shine to swim and invents swimming techniques using a wooden trunk. Shine doesn't like it at first, but eventually, Ross learns to swim. She gives him a little push and he completes the second leg of the swim, although Shine's swimming technique is still lacking. Also needs improvement. Shine goes to the zoo and meets the other swans, but they make fun of him by calling him small and strange and repeatedly say that both he and his mother are strange. They also tell that Rose has been listening to all this from a distance, but when Shine gets into trouble she goes to the lake and scares all the swans. At the same time, a predatory creature comes there and wants to make Shine its prey. Wants Juice. She tries to save him and successfully rescues him, but in this attempt, she destroys one of her robotic. Shine loses her leg after this incident and asks Russ if what the other swans are saying is true. Russ has no other option and she tells Shine the whole truth. Hearing that his parents were accidentally harmed, Shine no longer considers Ross his mother and leaves the shelter. Ross sees Shine leaving and decides to destroy the place as she feels she has done her job. Only then does he realize that he has taken it. Many other robots came like him, but they did not have the same fate and they were shattered into pieces. She collects the pieces and turns to one of them a few times, who tells her that they came from a company called Universal Dynamic and if she can't find the person who bought them she should call them so they can. Ross keeps thinking about Shine and meanwhile Finn arrives. Finn sees that Ross is acting out of his programming and has violated his protocol. To the transmitter antenna fine so that he can contact his mother Nature.e. Finn realizes that Russ wants to call her producers so they can take her away, but Finn disagrees that this is the right thing to do. At the same time, they watch Finn explain to Russ that he should help him by finding Brilliance so he can learn to fly. They approach Brilliance, who initially doesn't want their help, but eventually, they convince him. Let's take that he must learn to fly. Russ helps him with various techniques even though he has to deal with his broken robotic leg. Luckily, that night Mr. Castor gives him a wooden leg as he has taken a liking to Russ. He also creates a special practice track for Brilliance which allows Brilliance to learn to fly even though Russ is unable to fly. The Eagle teaches Brilliance advanced flying techniques and new maneuvers, due to which Brilliance soon improves its flying skills and overcomes all the challenges. Ross then meets the cowherd who is going to lead the migration. Tells him to let Brilliance fly every day and not touch the ground at all because he only has a week to practice, but he also tells him that Brilliance's chances of succeeding are much higher as the days go by. The time of migration comes. Gand AV tells Brilliance that the same accident in which his parents had gone, referring to Ras, saved him because a small swan like Brilliance cannot survive even for a week. Brilliance realizes. It happens that he did not understand this earlier. He wants to apologize to Russ and tell him that how much he loves her, but as time is short he just asks Russ to help him fly because he knows Russ will soon go back to her makers. Russ helps her fly and Brilliance flies. The poets see her performing a patra as a final farewell. A few days later, Russ realizes that the Brilliance is now gone and she plans to call her makers. She turns on her transmitting antenna and calls Universal Dynamic sends a signal to the company. On the other hand, we see a group of swans caught in a big storm. They go down and wait for him to calm down. By chance, they come across Universal Dynamic. Brilliance thinks he sees the juice, but it is another robot who declares it contaminated, causing the swans to die. Then Gav tells Brilliance that he is the only one who can get them out of there safely as he is no longer afraid of robots. Brilliance tries his best and tries to gather everyone and get them out. In the end, Gav sacrifices himself and stays behind so that everyone else is safe. They try to escape and eventually reach the shelter where Ross is already there. Ross tells them that she had turned off her transmitting antenna to wait for Brilliance to return and see what she had done. Whether or not they were successful, they also discovered that the shelter was not as bad as they first thought. The two then began providing shelter to other animals who had come to the shelter for help. As time went on, they discovered that there was just one animal, Allosum. Ross goes to get him while the other animals have a little confrontation. Chaos begins as they are all living together. Everything is in disarray at Russ Allosaurus, but his energy is low, so Finn calms everyone down and explains that Rosie was the one who helped everyone and helped Brilliance. The handled Russ tells everyone that she will have to go out for the entire winter and hopes everyone will behave well. The animals emotionally say that they will live well if locked together. Soon Russ regains her energy from the sun. And she sees that the flock of swans has also returned from their journey. She finds Brilliance in hopes of seeing if he succeeded in his mission. She is pleased to see that Brilliance not only succeeded but is leading the entire group and has many friends thanking him. Russ realizes that his child is now with the right people. At the same time, Finn welcomes Brilliance and Brilliance realizes that Russ hasn't gone with her makers yet. They set out to find her but realize that Ross now shelter ain't in the juice, so to call their makers. But he remembers the good times he spent with Brilliance. Just then a ship from Universal Dynamic arrives there and a robot named Vandara lands. He reveals that he is a hunter who catches escaped robots. He tells Russ that she and some other robots were being taken on a ship to deliver to customers but were lost track due to a storm. Vandara explains that it was only when Russ turned on his antenna for a few seconds that they were able to find him, but she also says that she suspects it's because Russ deliberately turned off his antenna. Badra asks her to board the ship and Ras agrees, then a message comes from Brilliance that he wants to say something important to Ras. Ras decides to get off the ship and ignores Vandra's words. Vandra then sends her robot hunters, causing a huge commotion in the place. The animals come to support Ross and convince him that he should stay put. Ross tells the hunters that he too is now a wild robot like everyone else. Animals are on this island. Robots try to attack Ross, but the animals are too many. And they soon win. However, BT, a powerful robot, blows up all the robots, leaving Ross unconscious. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Vandara takes him to her ship and asks him questions about his memories because he needs to understand why Ross behaved the way he did so he can avoid making similar mistakes. The story reaches its most emotional point when Brilliance embarks on a daring mission with his gang of swans to rescue his mother Ross. Together they try to escape the ship when Brilliance sees that Ross has been taken off. When everything seems lost, then Brilliance's voice reaches Ras, who expresses his love to her, and with this miracle, Ras wakes up again. She wakes up and tells him that she also loves him, but then they are surprised to find that Russ has rebooted himself and his memories are intact, yet Trey tries to capture them both for further investigation. In a last-ditch effort, they use magnets to disarm Tra as her powers are dwindling, but Mantra warns them. Realizing that there is no one aboard the ship piloting it, she realizes that more robots will soon be sent to capture them and they must make a quick escape. Russ removes some vital parts to make room for Brilliance as her wing is injured and she can't fly. The rest of the animals gather around Brilliance, fully prepared to save her as more robots approach the island. The animals prepare for another battle, but Russ steps in and tells them that they need to do so. She decides to surrender, thinking that this is the right way. She explains that this is a kind of migration to ensure the safety of her friends, although it is very difficult for her to leave her loved ones. The animals, although sad, listen to her and say goodbye to her, considering her a part of their community. In the days that follow, Russ is sent to Universal Dynamic to be shut down and examined, yet his story becomes a legend among the animals, told for generations. Meanwhile, Brilliance, who is now grown up and the leader of his pack, never gave up on his mother. During each of Bolta's migrations, he comes across Raza who, despite being rebuilt and programmed, always remembers her son, and thus the story ends, leaving behind Love, a robot, and her adopted swan. If you liked this video, don't forget to check out some of my other suggestions, including a spoken ending to the same story.